African continent have united, not just the UK, even Canada has imposed these bans and has affected Nigeria. Singapore, Hong Kong, Indonesia, all of them have limited their airspace, from planes coming from Nigeria. So the UK is the big elephant, but there are other countries too, small countries, Hong Kong, Singapore, Indonesia. They've all taken these steps as well. Even right here on the continent, Angola, Rwanda has blocked their airspace from South Africa. Countries are taking measures, according to the UK government, to protect public health in the UK. But a lot of people have seen this when they weighed it to say, really, this Omicron matter. It's not the way we're going at it. It appears like Omicron is killing science. It's killing the argument for science, the argument for evidence-based medicine. The argument for logic. And essentially the argument for common sense. When you're shutting down airspace of countries where they have only 3 cases, and then you have countries where they have multiple cases. Netherlands, for instance, has over 70 cases of the Omicron today, but people from Netherlands can enter the UK and stroll in. They don't even have to quarantine, So that's where this defeats logic, it defeats common sense, and experts are saying that you cannot discountenance the place of science and evidence-based medicine. But these actions that the world is taking, especially the UK, the United States, Israel, and the others I've just mentioned, Canada and the rest, defeat simple logic. And that's why people from Nigeria are already shouting. The most important shout I have heard was from Nigeria's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. I think that's the High Commissioner what his salt in the argument he has made. And he gave this interview to the BBC. He called it discriminatory. He re-echoed the words of the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres. This is apartheid. This is COVID appetite, the way he called it. You can't do this. You cannot shut out this country. It will not solve the problem. It will hurt, commerce. It will halt livelihoods. And at the end of the day, it doesn't even bring to the table the big question of vaccine equity, which is the way to begin to solve the pandemic. If more people are vaccinated, then we indeed begin the journey to end the COVID pandemic. But these travel bans have not addressed this. They look like they are discriminatory, and some people have even used the word racist, to describe them. So these arguments will continue, and it wasn't just Ishola, the Nigerian High Commissioner, the Nigerian government yesterday, Sharafa Ishola, yes, the Nigerian government yesterday told the Minister Lai Mohammed gave very copious examples of why this is wrong, and it's not as if Nigeria is sleeping. We're handling and taking care of this issue. In fact, Nigeria have had more cases of people in Britain coming into Nigeria with COVID than the other way around. And like Mohammed listed this yesterday, to come into Nigeria today from anywhere in the world, you have to go through the very rigorous part of testing, and more testing to ensure that you haven't brought in the COVID-19 virus into the country. So it's not as if the Nigerian government is lax, But the United Kingdom has said that of all the cases they have had, 21 are related to travel from Nigeria. So for that reason, they think that Nigeria is a risk country, and they've put out on the red list. Like Mohammed said, Nigeria is not on anybody's red list, and the government will consider to retaliate. What retaliation means in this case, I do not know. He said he will leave that for the Presidential Steering Committee to handle. The PSC at that summit yesterday did not talk about it. I think they will have another meeting to decide how to respond to the United Kingdom, But this matter has come to stay, and these arguments will continue. Briefing says they have a 21-day window, first 3 weeks, and they will review again. By December 20, they will review the travel bans and the restrictions and see if it has improved, and they'll take action from that point. The way it is, the way Nigeria has put up a good argument about this, probably might get a reprieve, when it comes to the review. But Diego, let me tell you that Britain is ravaged more now by Omicron more than any country else in the world. I'm just reading this morning that on Sunday, the United Kingdom has 240 cases about that of Omicron cases. By close of work yesterday, it was 336, 261 in England, 71 in Scotland, 4 in Wales, and none yet in Northern Ireland. And these cases are increasing. Even their Minister of Health, Savi Javad, has agreed now that some of the cases had no links with international travel. So it's not as if anybody had brought them. It's already a community spread in the United Kingdom. You need to battle with this. And experts are saying shutting your borders is not your solution. Find other ways. Like Israel now is proposing a 4th jab.
Wow.
The 4th one. And in Israel, if you have taken the first 2 jobs, you don't take the third one, they cancel your certificate for the first 2 ones you have taken. For the first 2 jobs you have taken. So now that they're doing the 4th one, they have issued a certificate before. They withdraw the certificate for the first 3 jobs. Until you take a 4th one, you are not seen. You are not seen as having been vaccinated. That's the policy. The policy in Israel, and they are now proposing a 4th job. The Nigerian government are proposing a 3rd job. So you and I very soon will go and take number 3.
Well, 5 states, FCT in darkness as Labour strikes. Page 3, The Guardian this morning.
Yeah, Abuja can go with the power too. It's not only Nuru.
Why you not saying only Lagos?
Not just
Abuja can go with the power. I don't use Abuja because Abuja is around the state. Every part of Edo, the Abuja Electricity Development Company, that's our own EKDC in Abuja. They decided to strike. They had their own issues too. Most of the issue was bordering on, according to them, issues around pension-related issues for the workers, the AEDC workers. And in that part of the country, I don't know if it happens down here in the south, there's a CBI intervention that helps all these companies, all these these discos, stay afloat. CBN has not met their part of the bargain for some time now. And then there are issues around liabilities, and then, of course, that CBN funding issue. So the workers had to go on strike and shut down their facilities. So for most of the day yesterday, in areas around AFCT, Nasarawa, Kogi, parts of Edo, Niger, and Kaduna, there was no power. People in Abuja said later at night, before 10 p.m., power was restored. That is the power of a strike. The strike makes an impact. And the CBN has now said, come to the table tomorrow. Let's talk and let's see how we can release the intervention. So that strike has succeeded. But they always say strike should always be the last bargain, the last option in collective bargaining. The ADC hit Abuja yesterday, hit it bad. I don't think Abuja has the problem that Lagos has for power. Lagos, you can take power, public power, and people won't bother because everybody has 2 or 3 generators. Companies have massive generators. Have you gone through Afrediwane? There's one building there. Every day I admire their generators. Like 5 massive turbines like this. You see it now, don't you?
Yeah, I know.
That company does not care about power, about public power now. But also in Abuja. In Abuja, most, especially government agencies, government facilities, I don't think they bother too much about the generator. They depend on public power a lot. Public power don't feel too much until yesterday, feel for a whole day.
Wow. Nigeria trade deficit rises to 3 trillion naira. Wow. Again, Nigeria's trade deficit rises to 3 trillion naira.
Yeah. Why are you saying wow? It's true, no? 3 trillion. That's the imbalance.
But that's not good.
Means, we import more than we export to the tune of 3 trillion. 3 trillion is the difference. The difference between what we export and what we import is 3 trillion to our disadvantage. Therefore we import PMS, petrol, every day, millions of liters. That alone will scatter your trade of your balance of trade. That alone, only that. Because, and I said the numbers that the MBS released, and you can see that the trade relationship between Nigeria and India is rising. It's from India we import most of our PMS. That's what it looks like. The price is rising. India, I mean, we send the crude to India and import PMS. Wow. It's true. What do we really export in this country? Not the major things. Not the major things. The other day, this government agency headed by Awolowo, what's the name again? Nigeria Export Promotion Council, was doing advert of people who want to export yam and food items. And I say that if you don't package these things well, they will spoil before they get abroad. Those are the kind of things Nigerians export. Who will import not just PMS, we import machinery, we import even processed food in large quantities. I'm not surprised about that balance of trade there. 3 trillion deficit, quarter on quarter, between quarter 2 and quarter 3, we hear was a very high 61% increase between those quarters. It just tells you that we're importing more now than we're exporting. There'll be factors responsible for that. But I'm really not surprised because I know that we live in a country where the culture is more of importing than exporting, especially of major commodities. Like, again, we don't do local refining of crude that we have in our backyard. So you can understand the payments, the vouchers alone for PMS can almost quadruple your trade deficit. If this continues. And the NNPC tells us all the time. Yesterday the NNPC said zero revenue from oil sales.
3
You know?
trillion
Yeah.
is humongous.
And they keep importing. PMS especially.
Defiance. Let's read messages, please.
All right, you can post your messages on our Facebook Live at Inspiration 92.2 FM, and you can also send it to the WhatsApp number 0817-313-6193. I'm already seeing very lengthy messages. Please shorten it as much as you can. Abdul Salam here says, welcome to the gurus. All these bans are the result of our corruption. Next one here says, see you upgrade. Thank you very much. The next one here says, Lai Mohammed's submission is very unfortunate. Corruption is our problem. How will someone test negative here and still test positive getting to the UK? Today, to make everything worse, someone who was certified to have been vaccinated here, after the investigation, it was revealed no vaccine was actually given to the fellow. We should just do the needful and ignore UK and co for now. Steve Ofere here says, please, what is all this noise about the ban on some African countries in getting to Europe about? If we had made ourselves great, or the great giant we are supposed to be, will any country treat us with such levity? If the ban will help us by stopping some officials in the huge medical tourism that leads to the presidential jets being parked in their airports, among other expensive expenses costing the country hugely. Now let it continue. We should find a way of addressing our problem. Let Africa be and let Europe be, I beg. Next one, moving to WhatsApp, is Steve from Janika that says, I think this government has got to the height of confusion. For Femi Adesina to claim that insecurity in the country will not discourage investors from coming into the country, maybe he should tell us how many industries have been built in the whole of the Northeast since the destruction and the bloodbath in that region started. Maybe they should do everything possible for us to overtake the likes of Afghanistan, Iraq, Pakistan, Somalia, and so on in insecurity, so that investors will flood the country and we shall become the greatest industrial hub in the country, Nigeria. Sorry, you. Next one here says, good morning. Senator Ahmed Lawal, this your surprise surprised me. Oh. For your information, that is exactly how your government have been running Nigeria in the last 6.5 years. African countries are not doing well. So why should Europe and America respect them? You want to respect rulers who steal their people's wealth and go to hide them in foreign lands. So sad. And that is Osisioma Ngwa. Next one here says, a very fine morning to you all, Mr. Azosumili. There is an important angle to the Sylvester death that we are inadvertently overlooking, which has to do with the complicit role of the school doctor and the nurse in the cover-up of the true cause of the young lad's death. As very noble profession, I expected that the practicing regulatory body, the NMA, and the Nigerian Nursing Council to have swung into action to investigate the role of the health professionals. Now, their continuing long silence is very uncomfortable and questions their integrity. Have you seen another viral online video of the main murder suspect, a particular man, I will not put his name out here, bullying and punching another student on the chest? This is a validation that the lad is a chronic bully, that notorious for this act. A very brilliant day to you all, Aziz Adebayo. Next one is Roland Edet from Ikeja that says, the UK government have decided to put travel ban on some countries, including Nigeria. Why is that a problem to the Nigerian government? They feel that's the best way for them to manage the Omicron variant. Nigeria should also do the same to other countries if they feel aggrieved. Next says Ogazo, are you surprised that the present ministers in Nigeria are like a furniture? Why won't they? When there are no performance targets given to them, every one of them is hibernating while the nation's ship is sinking. Even their Oga at the top is in Oyo State. Nothing worries them at all, and that is Okangbelina from Mafuluku. Next one says, good morning. Minister of Information says they will retaliate. All it takes for Britain is to ban the president from taking his medical trip in the UK, and their tone will change. Until African leaders have shame and decide to improve their own land and people, and improve their own land and the people, the West will continue to behave the way that they are doing with African countries. And that is BA from Lagos. Paulie Demudia from Solere says, Yahya Mohammed, in his characteristic manner, is blowing hot air as usual. Now, if you had people coming in from the UK testing more for COVID, what action did you take? Now, UK have put you on their red list and have banned your country from entering their country for more than 48 hours now. You are still considering to retaliate? What a joke has been sprung on top officials. All right, moving on. Next one here says, good morning. Statistics has overwhelmingly shown that we lack integrity. Nigerian COVID-19 tests cannot be relied on. Let the UK shut us down and let us build our country. And that is Labams from Lekki. Next one says, good morning, ITK from Lekki. I hope Lai Mohammed will not call the UK travelling ban on Nigerians as the work of the opposition party, the PDP. Well, it is well. Next is Chuke from Akute that says, on how COVID-19 funds were disbursed, Nigerians already know where the money went. First, they fed school children domiciled at home by their parents. Then they sent 5,000 naira to the account of the poorest of the poor, who didn't even have an account. Please, are they not merciful? Nigerians are indeed grateful for the government's assistance during the lockdown. Finally, it's good Jagaban is meeting Gandoje to solve the APC issues. When bullion van comes in contact with dollars, problem is solved. Next one here says, Uncle Azu, I'm not surprised that you are taking a swipe at the present crop of ministers. What is making me flabbergasted was the way you said they are like a furniture. Thank God you know Tokam, otherwise Kafayat won't read it if it was coming from us. Uncle Azu, I asked this question sometime last week, but you didn't answer. Does it mean that if COVID-19 eventually gets up to 10 different variants, we would have to be vaccinated 10 times as Israel is doing now? A lot of people are yet to be convinced to even take the first jab. Now you're telling me that they'll have to be vaccinated for every new strain. I even hear that a multiple strain is possible, and that is James Ogbonna.
I don't know how to address the issue, James. I'm not an expert on COVID-19. I'm not a virologist. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't know if for every strain you have to take a jab. And I do not think that this new jab that Israel is proposing was because of the Omicron. Again, this is not the first strain. There's been the COVID has its history: Alpha, Beta, Gamma, now Delta. Delta is the most dominant strain, and then now we have Omicron. So that's almost the fifth variant, and it's not 5 jabs yet. I don't know. The experts will always propose these things, as to how to tackle against them. But when you are born as a baby, your first immunization always take 12 jabs. Yeah. Almost 12 different anti-measles, anti-that. So I don't think vaccines kill. So if you have to take 10 for 10 strains, why you do fear?
This says, it is good that the UK has placed a travel ban on Nigerian passengers. You can imagine that the 3 most important individuals in our health sector did not attend the health summit. You think the world is not watching us? Would you open your door to a country like Nigeria who does not place premium on the health of their citizen? And that is Mike from Ojo. Oga Azu, good morning to you. Now, they can continue to care for us, and we specialize in stealing. Come to think of it, I know some common people on radio. Every time anything happens, they are always quick to say this 2 nations should deal with us just because they don't like the face of the president. Again, all ban can only affect the so-called wealthy and the big men and women of this country and their children. So I beg the UK and the US to deal more with us. I don't need UK and US for my life, or to save my life, or to live my life. That's what he's saying. They have started planning to leave us during the holiday to run with their children to the places they are crying, of discrimination. And that is Sam from Satellite Town, Lagos. Next is A20 from Lekki that said, if them ask our Nigeria, can you tell us how many people you have that has not been vaccinated? No data at all. Nigeria should fight this ban with data by stating how many people have been vaccinated, how many in the hospital, how many have been discharged. Also, show information implementing non-pharmaceutical effort to reduce the spread. These are the ways that you show that we are serious. The shout is loud, but because the elites in government are restricted, our information people should show the data of community spread in the UK, Canada, Israel, US, and so on. That will also make our people to sit back in Nigeria and have a virtual Christmas. They cannot go and bring it to Nigeria. Next one here says, good morning. Please let Africa stop complaining about the look back, complaining and look back home and ask ourselves exactly what is wrong. If there is no crack on the wall, then the lizard will not enter. Let us check how we choose our leaders who are objective and purposeful, devoid of ethnic and religious biases. And that is Chidi from Ilupeju. I'll take 3 more messages and hand over to Dieko. Honorable Sosa Ortega says, Boss Mustafa as the SGF is superior to the Minister of Health. So why should he tolerate such nonsense from the ministers? Minister of Osage Ehanire, Federal Minister of Edo State, represents me is really a huge minus. Oga Azu, na do or die to go UK. We know if we stay for our own country. Go to know that the family of Sylvester Oromani has retained Femi Falana to handle the case. All right. Next one here says, good morning. I don't know why you were surprised that many of the ministers are silent on the crucial issues when you know that they are copying their leader. Note that the likes flock together. If the master is firebrand, then the subordinates will firebrand, and vice versa. And that is Peter from Abidjan. Final message we haven't been able to listen to. Thank you so much. We're working on it.
But you can do that on Facebook Live. We're live on Facebook.
We're live on Facebook. Over to you, Diego.
Thank you. I have the nation now. Travel ban discriminatory, punitive. Federal government tells UK. Front page story. We've talked about this in detail. Now let's get to this. Labour puts members on the alert of a fuel price hike. We'll hold talks with workers, says federal government. So front page story for the nation as well.
The federal government is trying to remove subsidy. This is in spite of ongoing talks with Labour on the entire deregulation issue. So this is Labour responding. I think it's coming rather late because this issue was dominant 2 weeks ago. But they are making their mark as well. They're making their points that they will not accept it. I don't know how they'll stop this because it appears like the government is jet set, on removing subsidy, and they're already trying to implement what they call the palliative regime, 5,000 naira to the very poor and vulnerable 40 million for 1 year maybe. They've done estimates for that. It's not in the budget, that spending, but they say they will take it from the fashion account anyway. I mean, Zainab Ahmed, the Minister of Finance, explained, how they plan to do this. They say they even have a national social register that has names of the 40 million poor on it. So it appears like it's a done
Mind
deal.
made up.
Yeah, mind made up. I don't know how the government said it will talk, but I think that it's imminent that the subsidy regime will have to go, even though the refineries locally are not working. That's one of the key demands of Labour in their discussions with government. That we're not saying don't remove subsidy, but make the environment, conducive for that. We want a level playing field, yes, in the oil and gas industry. But if we refine locally, then we can also have the benefit of a country that produces crude, because we don't have to take it out and bring it back. Something that's already affecting our balance of trade based on the deficit we have seen in our trade deficit we have seen now in the MBS third quarter report. This is what Labour is saying, and it has been their key card in their trump card in their argument, that fix local refineries, then we can talk about subsidy removal. But the government is going ahead anyway, because the refineries will not come on stream soon. Dangote that we've been expectant about what is to come on stream 2022. We don't know the state now. There have been no recent report on the state of the Dangote refinery. The last we know was that the government was even investing in it so that they can fasten and expedite things. The Port Harcourt and the Kaduna that the government wants to turn around. We know that most of them don't come on stream until 2024 in the list, and that's not even full capacity. So I think the option of making refineries work is no longer on the table of government. What the government plans to do now is remove subsidy and pay palliatives to poor Nigerians. After all, the World Bank has advised them that this subsidy is only richer benefits, the poor don't.
Wow. Okay. Southeast Middle Belt Youth demand president. Demand. Page 28 for the Nation newspapers this morning. Why Buhari may sign Electoral Act Amendment Bill by additional, and the rider, President will act in public interest, page 4. The rider is sort of like a caveat to that headline.
There have different headlines to that Femi additional interview. One headline said, heavens will not fall if Buhari don't sign the Electoral Amendment Bill. And this is another headline. December 19th is just around the corner. I really don't want to preempt anymore.
Let's wait.
The president has a simple prerogative to sign it before 30 days. If he doesn't, the National Assembly has the other prerogative to override his veto. Does the National Assembly have the courage, have what it takes to override President Buhari's veto? Still to be seen. But they have the opportunity, empowered constitutionally, to be able to do that. So we'll see. I think the debate about the key areas in that amendment, especially the direct primary issue, has almost been taken care of, because the president wrote stakeholders, including INEC. And I hear INEC has written back to Mr. President, and what I heard about INEC's position is that we can do it. So if INEC have said they can do it, I think the president should hold back no more.
Okay. Nigerian Tribune, Darwin College, deceased family hires Falano. SAN files coroner's inquest, page 27. That's where you get to read.
Taking assume the new dimension, interestingly, Because I heard that the police says nobody has complained. And you know, police now watch it matter like this. They're waiting for complainant. Anyway, now somebody
before
has
they can
complained.
go to work.
Yes, now somebody has complained. Femi Falana is an expert in this. He's the human rights and public accountability lawyer. So the first thing to do is to do what he has done. Demands a coroner's inquest. A coroner's inquest determines circumstances of death of a deceased. When the issue is unnatural, there appears to be cases of violence around the death, and then there is a suspicious situation. It's not natural. It's suspicious. So a coroner's inquest will now determine the circumstances of that death. Autopsy, toxicology test, all of that, and then we'll take it from there. The family have retained Mr. Femi Falana and his chambers, against Dowen College. Dowen College is very difficult times for them. I don't know how they can manage to get out of this. It's already a very bad situation for them. This is already subject of a criminal investigation. The school is now sealed. The police have parked their vehicle there. There's a permanent RRS vehicle at the gates, of that school now in Lekki. And I'm sure that the officials of the school should be spending their days at the police station.
Should be cooling off.
Yeah, should spend their days at the police station. This is perhaps one death too much. The society cannot even take this. It breaks hearts across the world.
I mean, I've not showed you something. There's an Instagram page for that boy now. You need to see.
No, last time was 180,000 signatures for the petition already.
You need to see the videos of how he lived his life with his sisters and his family members. Heartbreaking.
I don't know. It's a formal investigation now with complete interest of the law in it. I'm very interested to see how this pans out.
The Ikoyi building collapse. Why tribunal report is delayed. Remember, page 27. That's where the story is this morning. And let's quickly see what the Punch is saying. 30 billion naira fraud. The FCC protests U.S. medical travel application by ex-NSITF boss. Page 29. That's where you get to read the story. And I think that's all we've taken all of the front pages this morning. I think I've done justice.
You have taken enough.
Yeah, so let's get back to the fight.
All right, we'll start with Facebook. Kennedy Kenny says, Ogazo, unfortunately, what do we expect from all the ministers 6 months after the appointment? That's Nigerian ministers for you. Next is Luke here that says, Ogazo, Canada put Nigeria on red flag. There was no reaction from Oga. Why is UK particularly different?
You know why, I'll be shocked if you don't know why.
Benga here says, good morning. Now, when you go cap in hand to always beg for grants and aids from these countries, then they won't treat you with any form of respect. Until we begin to be self-sufficient, or will always be at the whims and the caprices. What's wrong with your message? It's not going. Okay, whims and caprices of these foreign countries. Next is Rashid Mohammed here that says it's quite unfortunate removing the non-existent fuel subsidy, punishing majority and compensating the invisible minority. And that is Nigerian Dima. Next one here says, good morning, Ogazu. You haven't spoken about the direct primaries. Since INEC is ready for it in respect of the reply sent to the president.
You preempted me. I have now.
The next message here says, good morning. Now, I heard some stunning revelation coming out from all these big boarding schools. How they spoke kids sent housemasters on errands like withdrawing from the ATM, buying cards, and so on. I mentioned King the other time. Ogazu said you don't cure madness with madness. I hear you, sir. Did you see the elderly professor shedding tears for Nigeria? So sad.
You mean the students will send housemaster with ATM? Grab the money from me.
I mean, they get as much as 50,000 naira from the automated teller machine.
My son, I'm going to give more than 2K. You see, pocket money. I will give it to that teacher. 2,000. It can't be more than 2,000. Yeah. In fact, last time my wife gave 1.5. What I read again about Dowen College, Dowen College, is that their students go to nightclubs in Lekki.
Yeah, they get away with a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if a son can give an ATM card to someone to go and get money, and they withdraw 50,000 naira at once, I mean, they should be able to go to a nightclub.
Somebody said on social media that Dowen College, your students are at nightclubs in Lekki. A total investigation, wholesome, complete investigation of the behavior of that one college is what is paramount. It's not just the Sylvester Oromoni's death. A lot more. It has to be unearthed about the standards in those schools. It's not all about academic standards. And I've always said it's a two-way street. And when we're done with the school, we also look at the parents. some parents have completely abandoned the work of parenting to these schools, and this is what they get.
The next is topic from Yaba that says, why is Senator Lawan lamenting in the public? Has he forgotten so soon when these ministers appear before the Senate for screening? Virtually all the ministers were giving treatment of take a bow and go. Today, the ministers' inactions are now showing, see, sir, you cannot build something on nothing. I was complaining bitterly then that the screening modus operandi will hurt us back. Majority of the ministers are underperforming. Next one here says, this is Evans from Orile. It says, Ogazu, I must say that you are spot on in your opening speech this morning. The ministers under the President Buhari's government are nothing to write home about. This says you can't be different from the way your leader operates. Now, we have a bunch of ministers that have made more for themselves doing little or nothing. In the years back, federal ministers are revered, but propaganda politics have rubbished everything now. Chika from Leggy. Next one says about the Darwin College tragedy and the allegation that the parent of one of the accused has whisked him abroad. These failed parents think it's money. Think it's all about money. They raise spoiled children. Oh dear. They raise badly behaved children. I'm going to change that word. My own mother handed my older brother out when his classmates' parent came knocking that their son's classmates stopped over at their home and something got missing. My mom gave him to them aptly and cried. Okay, I get what you're trying to share, but moving on from that message, I apologize. Next one here says, good morning. In Lagos, the newspaper review crew. By God's grace, my eldest child is a medical doctor. The Minister for Health in Nigeria does not have any business holding the post. He does not have any empathy towards saving lives, nor is he proactive in any way. We are just in God's hands here. Thank you very much. The next one here says, for me, it's not a bad thing the UK and any other country shutting their borders to Nigeria. It's a wake-up call that we should start looking inward for solution and believing in ourselves for solution rather than waiting for the West. These include the followers and the leaders as well. Odunwayo from Matogun. Next one here says, good morning, pay-per-view crew. We have too many unserious people in this administration, but you guys in the media pamper them. You just said some of the ministers are there as furniture, but if I say the same, you have repeated this message before. It said Kafaya won't read the message. This is our country and a lot of us want the best for the country, but just disappointed that we have clowns in government. All right, moving on.
I know what you're trying to say, but again, decent language is important. Referring to people as circumstance furniture is not directly an insult, but if you choose, I know the choice of words you make, and that's what we say, you can pass your messages using decent language. Nobody is saying you cannot criticize. You can. Criticism is the way of life, of the way of correcting ills, but because it's radio, language is important. You're arguing here that I use the word furniture. You will not use the word furniture. And, you know, furniture is used to describe something that is not moving.
Yes,
it's in one place.
static. Yes.
It's particularly not an insult.
Next one here is coming from Sirlo. In as much as I agree with Nigeria in terms of the response to this ban, we need to get our act right. Now, we have behaved badly as a people in terms of COVID. The corruption surrounding this COVID is heart-wrenching, where people pay to get the clearance that they are vaccinated and they are not. It's really sad. We brought this humiliation upon ourselves, and that is why we are being tossed left and right like a rolling stone. Next one here says, it is very naive of some people to think relationship with Europe with respect to travel starts and ends with politicians and the elites. Now, what do these people think was responsible for the recession all over the world as an aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic? Don't they know travel restriction here and there was part of the cause? Ignorance at times makes one wish bad on himself unknowingly, and that is Deborah from Oworo. I hope justice is served, talking about the boy's death, and that is Oli Green from Ikorodu. Next one here says Lawal was being hypocritical on his expression of shock on the attitude of the officials of this administration. Did he screen them when they appeared before him? Do you know the Minister of Education, Mines and Power, Agriculture and Industry, the same way they are redundant in their various ministries? To avoid breakdown of law and order, this administration must have our refineries work before we propose the removal of subsidy. Nigerians must have at least one thing they benefit from this administration. 5,000 naira palliative is not only embarrassing but an insult to Nigerians, and that is Alex from Ikeja, or Alex from Lagos, or from Lekki. The next one here says this government believes that the poor are only in the north. So free food is for the north, paying palliative is for the north, according to the Minister of Human Affairs. It is better Nigeria divides and let everyone survive. Next one says, Ogazu, I do not blame UK for banning Nigeria Nigerians from entering the UK. We lack integrity, we lack transparency in our system. What percentage of Nigerians are vaccinated? Even many Nigerians with vaccine certificates have been proved not to be vaccinated. If Professor Tomori could shed tears for the level of decadence in our value system, then what do you expect the UK to do? And that is Collins from Aja. Ololami here says, good morning. Please, you forgot to add we import Gary from India as well. Please, are you aware that France has signed a policy of 3 years jail term for bullies? I hope my countries will follow. I think it's 10 years, not even 3 years, according to what I saw. One house minister to over 200 students in a private school. So how do you monitor the students effectively? And that's a major problem. The next one here says, good morning, pay-per-view crew. As long as Nigerians continue to cut corners around COVID-19 vaccination, pay for vaccine cards without being vaccinated, get negative test results without being tested at all, as long as all of the above continues to happen in Nigeria, no serious country will take Nigeria serious in this battle against COVID. And that is Marvin from Fexec Town. Cynthia from Maryland says, I heard a particular airline did not shut their airline to people flying in and out, yet the people are still leaving. The next is Bengals that says, when other countries hear that Nigerian forge COVID-19 vaccination certificate, what do you expect them to do? Our lack of credibility and integrity as a country is really haunting us. The Minister of Health, Dr. Ehanire, has a very good CV. He worked in Germany for several years before becoming a minister. I wonder why he is not replicating what he had in Germany here. Next one says, the challenges of these present times are very disturbing. But what is more disturbing is that no one in power is willing to take responsibility. Just vibes and in the name of God or inshallah, lives will be lost, businesses affected, but no one is ready to do the needful. And that is Don E from Ojodu. The next message here says, good morning, this is from Jerry. These are ministers that took Buhari's first 6 months to appoint. The foreign ministers is never ever seen in matters affecting the country internationally. COVID vaccine seems like it will soon become a monthly thing. May God intervene in all of this matter. Daily Mike from Ojodu says, Ogazo, stop backing La Mohammed's argumentos. Please ask the government, how did the people get COVID-19 certificate without even being vaccinated? I don't blame countries banning Nigerians. UK makes close to 200 billion naira from Nigeria in education alone. That is apart from tourism and looted funds. So for a country gaining all of these to ban Nigeria means that it is taking a big risk. However, Nigeria is suffering from integrity crisis, which brews suspicion from other countries. We forged practically all things, including vaccination certificates. People just don't trust us, and we are not even helping matters at all. Look at the attitude of the health ministry now, too sickening. And that is the great anonymous. Next one here says, it is hypocritical of the Senate President Ahmed Lawan to begin to show surprise at the way the appointees of the President of the Federal Republic have taken governance. The Senate under his watch approved their appointments. Please spare us. On the COVID phenomenon and the multiple variants, we haven't seen anything yet. The average citizen on the street does not even care about the travel restriction. South Africa should close their border with landlocked Zimbabwe. What an effrontery. And that is James from Twin Street, Ikeja. We're going straight to Facebook again. This one here is from Rashid that says, good morning. It's quite unfortunate removing a non-existent fuel subsidy, punishing the majority and compensating. We've read this one already. The next one here says, you haven't spoken about... Read this one already.
They're coming back.
They're coming back and sending more. AGK here says, a parent was complaining that after paying almost the entire for school fees, yet the school cannot provide ordinary CCTV camera. I don't understand how schools collect 3 million naira for ordinary secondary school. Please, Ogazo, how much do you pay for school fees for your children?
Come to our office, let me tell you.
Hilarious.
Those are all the messages that we have. What is your takeaway?
One of the major leading telcos in this continent, on the African continent, operating in Nigeria, has written a memo to his staff: vaccinate or review
Your appointment.
Your employment. They're saying that if you don't get vaccinated, we'll let you go. It's one of the first companies in the world.
operating in Nigeria.
Yes, in the world to do that. I saw the memo yesterday. Manager from their head office. You know, that we will review your employment contract with us if you don't get vaccinated. What it's eventually telling their workers is that if you don't take the COVID vaccine, you have to go. As one of the first companies in the world to do that, and I'm sure that others will follow suit.
The company does not want to shout.
Oh dear.
Immediately, they said so. It's except for very exceptional exclusions. Every worker in the company, continent-wide, are expected to be vaccinated or will review employment contract.
And that's it on pay-per-view this morning. Same time tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Inspiration 92.3 FM. Thank you so much for joining our live videos. You can follow us on all social media platforms, Inspiration 92.3 FM, on Facebook, IFM923 Plus, on Instagram. Website is www.ifm923.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like, share, and comment. And follow Diako Gilbert at Diako Gilbert on Instagram and on Facebook, Azu Osumili on Instagram and on Facebook, and I am Official Okafired on Instagram. We'll be back.
We are your #1 family radio.
Inspiration 92.3 FM.
Running a small business can be really challenging. From dealing with late suppliers,
Madam, if you knew you couldn't deliver, why did you take the order?
to handling impatient customers,
Okay, that's not what we agreed now.
and many other things while trying to upscale your business. We get it. And that's why we at MTN are making your journey as a small business owner smooth with the MTN